Hey photographers, Marcin here. Do you ever feel like you're juggling a million details at an event? Cheat sheets are your new best friend. Today we're diving into how to create a cheat sheet that keeps you on track and stress-free. You'll learn the key elements to include, the best format to use, and how to make them a breeze to reference. And yep, there is a handy template for you in the description. Just remember, this is just one piece of the puzzle. There's a whole system to building a thriving photography business, and this is just one part of it. So be sure to come back for more tips in the upcoming videos. All right, let's get going. Again, today we're talking about cheat sheets. Before I dig in, I have a slide deck for you guys. So this was what I read before, the wedding photographer's cheat sheet system. Like I said, over advertised. It's not a system, or maybe you'll be able to judge for yourself. But basically, streamline your workflow, capture predictable, beautiful formals, and build your signature style. It's not just about formals, it's about really everything. So if you're doing corporate, family, seniors, events, this will be super helpful. And I will be telling you kind of, what are the cheat sheets, when and where they're kind of used the most during I'll use events just because it's like the longest one. But you'll see how it applies to your formals, to the images you guys are taking. Maybe you're doing headshots. It'll be the same kind of, the theory is applicable across the board. And how you're kind of, with doing this, following the system, you're setting the stage for like predictable and fast like formal shoots. So you know how to line people and what to do with them. So before we actually look at the slide, I have something I wanted to show you guys here. Let's look at the file system here. And you'll see the way I generate cheat sheets, very simple. I usually use images from my past shoots, or at the beginning, I use Pinterest as my go-to thing. Or sometimes I would go even on Google and search for an idea of an image and just switch over to Images tab and just pull images from there. And here I have a folder that says Cheat Sheets Pinterest, and I would build my cheat sheets here. So I would initially, let's say I'm doing a wedding, an event, I would create a bunch of folders for like bride only, and then details, and maybe girls, meaning bridesmaids, and then groom and group, meaning everybody, and then guys, which is groomsmen, and two of them, which is bride and groom. So you kind of get the concept. I would create folders, and then I would go onto Pinterest or any website really, and I would start pulling images in. And this is not with intention to replicate exactly what's on a photo. This is more of like, oh, this is location, this is kind of setup. What can I do that's similar? Because not always you're going to have stairs to work with or a lake to work with, but you get the point. As you're creating the cheat sheet, it gives you a good idea. Maybe there's a mirror on the wall, like, oh, I can totally do that. Will it be exactly the same? Absolutely not. But it will be very close. And this is how you boost your own creativity, because over time, if you have a photo, you'll start, if you use a mirror, for example, maybe there's no mirror that you can use, but you're going to see there's something reflective and you can use the same thing. So it kind of it's like this trigger to get the creative flow going without you having to be creative on the spot. So brings down the stress level. You don't have to really worry. You can just look at the sheet and just kind of go with what's on the piece of paper in front of you. So this is for the bride. For the details, same idea, whether it's shoes or jewelry or flowers or anything, or a mix of all of these things. You can just put it on your cheat sheet and just use it over and over and over and over again. For girls, same thing. This will be just different shots of girls on a wedding day. Groom, same thing. It's like, okay, what can I do with individual photos of the groom? What can I do with the group? Same idea. You guys kind of understand where I'm going with this. For guys, this is just boys only, whether it's funny, formal, or sexy like this one. And then two of them is bride and groom, and we would have a bunch of these just to use as ideas. And so what I would eventually do with these, I would take those images, go to Photoshop, and there's a way to create a contact sheet with your Photoshop. And I would create one of those things. And just to show you a bigger format here, if I can. Let me see. Let me see if I can switch over so you guys can see better. And I'm going to actually pull 3 of those contact sheets. Let's open with preview and move things around here. And let's see if we can see it. Here, we can. Cool. So in this one, you'll see that like the images that I have selected previously are now on my cheat sheet, and they're kind of in that sequential order of like just bride at the beginning. And when you get towards the middle, you get the details, the rings, the flowers. And then when you switch over to the second sheet, you have the girls first, and then you have groom's photos, and then group photos, and then just them in the end. So this is a 3-piece cheat sheet. Sometimes it would be a 4-piece cheat sheet, but that's really what they look like. And both me and my assistant would use those on location. So if I have an assistant working with boys, she or he would then leverage this cheat sheet for, groom's photos, let's say, or boys photos. And then I would use it for details and other photos. So this is what those things look like. And let's talk about when we would typically use cheat sheets. So let's go back to the slide. And here you guys see preparation phase, quick reference during chaotic getting ready moments, formal portraits, reception, and idea for triggers. So triggers I already mentioned, but let's go through this stuff. So the preparation phase, very often what happens is let's say it's an event and I show up, and I kind of have learned over time that it's not always a good idea to show up and immediately be in front of somebody's face with a camera. People don't know you. People need to get some time to get used to you. So I take this time to focus on just details. And I pull out my cheat sheet and I just play around with the dress, the shoes, the jewelry, flowers. Maybe there's some important things that brides, bride cares about, whether it's maybe it's part of her bouquet, something memorable on her bouquet. So I spend about 30 minutes, 40 minutes, depending on how much time I have, on just doing that stuff. And it's with the cheat sheet, and it's a quick reference. Things are chaotic, things are all over the place, but like helps me stay organized and focused on the details. And then with time, people get used to me being around and talking and asking questions, because obviously that's what I do when I move things around. And then they're ready for me to take other portraits, and everybody's just cool and chilled at that point because you've been there for a while. So it's just they acclimate to you, right? So they habituate. So the next thing is formal portraits, essential for family groupings and wedding party shoots. Very often now, because I did most of our formals with Joanna, probably 95% of the weddings. Like, she's running the show. And it's nice because we already know, and I'm going to go through the details a little later here, but it's really just so we know how to organize people. Like, you want to make sure that you have everything covered. But also you have to kind of, creating the cheat sheet or creating a list, it doesn't have to be always graphic, like with the cheat sheets with the details and bride and groom. But for family photos, we essentially use a list that over time gets kind of baked into your head and your psyche. Kind of what to do. And then you just modify it. And we always, even with the list, we ask the bride, like, listen, here's the standard sheet, what we do. Is there anything else? Because, you want to make sure, like, if very often we would have a situation where somebody would travel from abroad to a wedding, let's say, and it's a big deal. We want to highlight that guest. It's an obviously time and huge money investment. And bride and groom usually tries to make sure that, like, at least they have a photo with them. So she would add things in. Sometimes she would cross things out. Why? Because, shit happens. People get divorced. Sometimes, it could be a situation where maybe mom and dad are not together. Maybe they have new partners. Maybe partners hate each other, and now we have to accommodate for that, which is totally cool. It's life, right? So the thing is, if you highlight that, if you have that stuff ahead of time, you're avoiding situations during formals where you're trying to, like, get people closer, and they do everything not to get close to each other. So that's totally cool. So that's formal portraits. And then reception day. The reception part of the day, I said rarely, just because primarily for special request shots or unique venue features. Reception, it's more about experimenting, I think. So I don't use as many cheat sheets. I basically just take the photos. Let's say it's an introduction of the couple, or their first dance, or cake, or parents' dances, or anything special they may have, at the reception. We typically know 1, 2, 3 photos that we get. That's just our standard. And then we start to experiment, because you never know. Sometimes it doesn't work, and who cares, because you got the basics and you're covered. But sometimes you take the photo and it's just mind-blowing, right? So, and over time, you're going to be incorporating those photos into your cheat sheets and kind of growing your cheat sheets, and not only with photos that you pull from just online random places, but photos that you are able to produce and photos that you're easily able to replicate. So that's really cool. So reception, not so much, but still sometimes we would do it. And then idea triggers, inspiration starters, not strict templates. As I said, you're not trying to replicate or copy anybody's work. You're basically getting triggers for ideas. And let me tell you, even if you try to replicate it, it's almost impossible. It's almost impossible to reproduce a photo because of the lighting situation, the movement of the people and what they do and how they, if you have a photo of couple kissing, everybody kisses differently. Everybody hugs differently. Everybody smiles differently. Sometimes you get the white smile. Sometimes you get the sort of, people that don't like to smile. So it's replicating a photo super difficult. And we always, even when brides or whoever brings in the idea, mom, maybe for a family photo, maybe somebody, from corporate environment brings something for the headshot, like, can we try this? We can, but there's no guarantee that we're going to be able to replicate it. So what we can do our best in order to try to get you close to this. If it doesn't work, we just delete it. If it works, fantastic. So you try to accommodate, but never try to just kind of overcommit and then somebody's disappointed. So just something to keep in mind. And then next slide here is basically building your reference system. So this one here is just, I already mentioned, like, as you go along and you produce those different content pieces, your pictures, your sheets will evolve, your cheat sheets will evolve. So refresh every 2-3 months to stay current. What I typically do is, at the very, very beginning, I create 3 different versions of a cheat sheet. This way, I'm not reproducing the same images from event to event, or from family session to family session, or headshot session to headshot session, or senior session. You get it. So what I do is, hey guys, we're going to pause this just for 1 second. If you're enjoying this video and the content and want more exclusive content, join our Facebook community. Inside, you'll get access to live sessions where you can actually ask questions in real time. Just scan the QR code on the screen and follow the link. Can't wait to see you there. Back to the video. I have 3 versions, and then every 2 to 3 months, I go back to my pictures, the ones that we have taken over the last 2-3 months. Or sometimes people do it at the end of the year, or twice a year. They go back and they pull images, their favorite images from what they were able to reproduce, and then they incorporate those into their cheat sheets. And this way, you get rid of the things that don't necessarily work. Sometimes you try an image once, twice, 3 times. It's like, that one never worked. Just get rid of it, right? Easy. And then replace it with something that did work. Sometimes you're gonna see, it may not even be on a cheat sheet, but you're gonna be in a situation where you're gonna be shooting the same portrait, a picture once, twice, 3 times. People are gonna be like, we definitely have to have this one. Like, we saw it on your website. It's part of like your style, where it's just, I don't know how it happens. It's a sort of a pixie dust of photography, and each photographer, like, you get to do this photo that, like, it's impossible for somebody to recreate. But the thing is, those become your signature style photos, and you incorporate those, and you have to make sure also, like, even though it's easy and like you always almost do it, like, it's good to have there, because sometimes clients have those expectations that those photos are probably going to be there. So the key photos, so you'll see, like, the cheat sheet keeps you also kind of consistent, right? And I did mention here inspiration sources, Pinterest boards, and successful past sessions. So it's a mix of things. And essential categories, I did already show you the folders. So you can kind of categorize it, whether it's headshots or seniors, or in this case, I'm talking about events. So it's bride solo poses, groom portraits. There's bridal party groupings, family combinations again, and detailed shots, checklist for the things that you have to make sure you capture on the day of the event. Field implementation. This one says reference during live sessions, quick glances between shoots, keep ideas flowing, adapt to people and environment, and evaluate results. So keep successful ideas, replace others. I've covered the last one. But the reference during live sessions, it was kind of when I started at the very beginning, I was actually I was kind of iffy about using some sort of a cheat sheets. I thought I was actually literally cheating the client somehow because I was better prepared for it's weird. It's mental game. But what I quickly learned was that when I brought a cheat sheet, the client was excited. I was less stressed. The client was excited because she was like, "Oh my God, what do you guys? Maybe we can do this, and maybe we can do this." And like, so it got her all energetic, and it was nice because the client sees that you cared, like that you care, that you've prepared for her engagement session or her wedding, or that you actually sat down and thought about it, right? She may not know that it was prepared ahead of time. Maybe it's a last year's cheat sheet, but the thing is, as we were referencing it during the shoot, the clients, they don't mind. They just want the best result, right? And if you have more ideas and you make things go faster, and if you trigger yourself into this to go into a space where you're more creative, like how can that be bad to a client? So it's this mental game you're playing with yourself. So referencing that during the day, whether it's during formals or during the formals and family, it's important, and nobody cares, and it's super helpful. And adapt to people and environment, modify poses based on client comfort and location. Sometimes we had clients approaching us with a photo asking literally to replicate it, and I always put in this legal disclaimer saying it's not something we can replicate. Like, it's not going to be a copy of this photo. We'll try to do as close as we can, but like, some people are shorter, some people some people are bigger, some people are smaller, so the lighting is different, the shading, the whatever, the expressions. It's like, it's hard. Photos are really about feelings, right? It's not just an image. And it's like, couples look at each other differently, couples hug differently, couples kiss differently. So I always tell them ahead of time, and this is usually during consultation. I said, if you guys have an idea or something you want me to try, sure, but just know that this is not a guaranteed yes, you're going to have the same image. But on the other hand, I also know that we produce images that other photographers won't be able to replicate. So it's just one of those things. It's part of your style, and you shouldn't be segueing out of your style. Clients expect you to be consistent. So this is for the field implementation. And then what do we got here on the next slide? Natural evolution of your style. So yeah, like I said at the very beginning, initial weddings, heavy reliance on reference materials. So I use cheat sheets all the time. I mean, obviously over time, the more you kind of do it, it's just you have that list in your head. But images change, and sometimes you have a great day, and everything is great on a great day, not so great on a bad day. And it's like, it's good to have a cheat sheet around just to like look and trigger. And sometimes you're maybe out of time, not enough time, like you can't get creative in your head no matter what you do. It's nice to just kind of look at the cheat sheet and use some poses. 3-4 weddings later, top poses become instinctive. You just know what works. Like, you try it again. Like, no matter who I put in front of the camera, like, that shot works. So you put that on your cheat sheet, and then you just kind of repeat it all the time. Becomes part of your signature. Clients come to you asking for that photo. I'll talk about it in a little bit here. And then you refine, you double down on consistent winners, and you just get rid of stuff that doesn't work. So if, like I said, if what eventually becomes part of your signature, it's on your cheat sheet, and then it becomes your signature style, your unique approach emerges naturally. We've been just repeating stuff from cheat sheets. Eventually, we grew our first page of cheat sheet into this list of images that client would almost expect. Like, those are images that clients would talk about. Like, if somebody references me in a conversation, I already know that it's like, that's the guy that does the veil shot, and like, I got to tell you, I didn't invent it. I saw something. I tried to replicate it. It seems like it's working with anybody, and it just creates a feeling beyond something that I can't comprehend, and it becomes your signature style, and that's how folks recognize you. So then, and it's just building that. The style is like this big word, but if you operationalize it, it's essentially you take photos, and then you take more photos, and then you take more photos. And eventually, out of those photos, this style emerges. You don't just create it. I mean, yes, you kind of look at stuff that you like from other photographers. Maybe you like more black and white. Maybe you like more vibrant and colorful images. So yes, you're going to start somewhere, but it could be in the end a hybrid. Like maybe 80% of your photos are color and some special ones are black and white. That's cool. You know, if you do just black and whites, like I know people that are producing just black and whites and their clients buying black and whites. It's like, as long as client vibes with what you're doing, you're cool. And that's exactly why I don't believe in like competition, because let me tell you, like, think of it in terms of like cars. When you're standing next to the highway and you look at cars passing by, is everybody driving the same car? Like, no, it's different make, different model, different color, with options on top of it. Like, that's how people connect with you on identity level. It's just like your style is so unique that other photographer cannot replicate it. And let me tell you, if you like it, chances are 10% of the market, 15%, 20% of the market will also like it, and they will not like the other guy's work, not because it's bad, it's just because that's not what resonates with them mentally, right? It's all about like the bundles of feelings that we have, and it's like, yeah, this one works. We don't know why, but like I like that. So that's what becomes your signature style as you move forward. Next slide here. Let's take a look. Family formal workflow. Start with a couple, add children, incorporate parents, extended family. So this is something that I like. Joanna already has this list baked in. She essentially starts with like let's talk about family photo. Family session. So because it's quicker. Wedding, obviously, its a list is a little bigger because it's just more people. But with family, we usually start with like mom and dad, and then we add both kids. Let's pretend there's two kids and mom and dad, and like in our case, we have two daughters. And what we would do is just start with the parents, then add both kids, then remove one kid, then swap kids. Then we would do dad with both kids, mom with both kids, then individually, then kids individually, mom and dad individually, because you never know what they're gonna produce. That's number one. Maybe dad wants to have formal picture of his kids in his car. Maybe mom wants to have a picture of dad on her desk. You never know. But the thing is, you got to go for the combination. And it's nice because you can really quickly do this by just swapping people, but you create a nice portfolio and it kind of tells the story. And then in the layout, it's always easier and nicer to look at the collage of images rather than just a single photo. So, and since you're already on location, I'm always a fan of like overshooting and just like do more, because if you do more, your clients will be happier. That's more business. That'll make you happier. So everybody's happy in the end. But like I said, we start with a couple. It's the foundation of like family groupings, add children, capture least patient participants first. If you have little kids, especially events, small kids, maybe a ring bearer, maybe the flower girl. We usually try to knock it out at the very beginning. The smaller they are, the faster we try to do it, just because they don't have the patience, right? They're kids. So we do it. And even if they're not part of like the big photo of the bridal party, it's okay. Like bride just cares to see the kids. The kids' mom and dad also is just looking for a photo with bride and groom. Like it doesn't have to, if they can be in the big photo, great. If they cannot be, like, just make sure it's there. Sometimes we have a little flower girl that barely can stand next to the bride, and we just do a quick photo with like the flower girl and the bride, and that's also okay. So I'm sure you're going to be in situations going from like event to event to event, or from family to family to family, where like kids, that's why we don't do baby photography, because it takes a lot of patience, man, with babies, because they don't understand. They can't follow directions. So, and then as kids get a little older, it gets a little easier, but we still try to knock them out at the very beginning, and that's really what we do. And then incorporate parents built outward from core family. So if there's extended members, we add them in weddings, you know, grandparents and godfather and godmother and whoever needs to be there, we do it. And sometimes we have guests standing by asking for photos. And do we try to accommodate everybody? We don't. It's a skill to say no, and it's the answer. There's only one answer. It's time. If we have time, we do it. Sometimes we get a feedback from bride, and it's usually a quick nod. She would say, "Do it," or she'll, you know, wave at us. Sometimes she's not into it, and we have to keep moving. It's really the objective is to keep your client happy, not the aunt, not the uncle, not whoever's next to you. You know, asking for photo, but we always try to kind of handle it sort of in a nice way and say, hey, we'll do it at the reception, and then we try to do that. So extended family, already mentioned that, and let's see on what's on the next slide. Creating signature images. A couple things I wanted to mention here. Client favorites, repeated poses often become most loved shots. This is exactly what I was talking about before. Those are the images that clients talk about the most. This whole word of mouth thing, it's like they share those images, the ones that repeat, the ones they like. It helps you develop you know, your style. So consistent application creates recognizable work. If some images of your liking and your client's liking repeat, you're being characterized and recognized by those images. You build your portfolio here. Signature shots attract ideal clients because you attract, with those images, only people that like those images come in. So it makes your work actually easier because you don't have to convince anybody. People come in because they already like the work. They see what you do and they're being attracted by it. So it's a win-win. And then referral generation, memorable images drive word of mouth. So I said that already. It's just how this works. And the last one here, time efficiency. You shoot faster because you have something that you can leverage on the shoot, and you do more coverage, more images, more to choose from. Client is happier, and in the end, you're happier. So that's that comprehensive coverage. Sometimes you just forget we're people. You know, sometimes things get hectic. Sometimes you have a headache, and like it's hard to, you know. So never miss essential shots. Kind of keeps you focused and organized and funneled, and you never missed something that's important or something the client expects. And confidence building. In the end here, it's obviously reduced stress. You don't freak out. It's like the list is in front of your face. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I love sharing this information with you for free. And the best way you can support me is by subscribing to the channel, obviously, or liking the video or leaving a comment below. Your support means the world to me. And if you have enjoyed the content, make sure to check out the next video suggested on the screen. See you there.